My experience with the church growing up and my faith growing up is I grew up in a Christian home. I started to have questions about my faith, and I had questions about why God does the things that he does, and why do bad things happen to some people and why do bad things happen to Christians as well? And does God love everybody? And because of that, this community that I longed for sort of shut me out. I didn't want to be part of a community that would neglect people based on thoughts or questions or their way of life. I just didn't think that was fair. I started working at a movie theater when I was 16 and started to make some great friends there. We would go out and party together all the time. I thought that people liked me better when I drank, and when I partied, and the more drunk I was, the more people would laugh. And it became an identity of mine where I just always felt the need to drink to fill some sort of void. After the ending of a very bad relationship, I decided that at that point that I didn't deserve love. I immediately put up a wall where I emotionally disconnected myself from everybody. I was known as that angry bartender at work. I didn't know that, there was anything left for me. I thought that was who I was destined to be. My best friend was getting married. A friend that I knew growing up from the church I went to, she was there and she was the photographer of the wedding.
We hadn't seen each other probably in a couple years, and as we were catching up and as he was kind of sharing about his life, I was like, man, what happened? You're not you. I asked him kind of where he's at, and I remember him saying I'm not really, the God thing, I don't really know about that anymore, but I really need community.
She is part of a church plant in Vancouver, and she was telling me about her experience with that, and that they were running an Alpha course. And she was like, is that something that you would be interested in coming to? I said, yeah, I'm not going. The next week came, and she had sent me a message that day, and she was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that Alpha's on again tonight. And I sat there, I was watching TV, cracked a beer, and just something inside gave me a lot of unrest, and I was quite uneasy, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go, but I'm not going to go to the dinner. I'm just gonna go for the message. Again, didn't respond to any of the small group conversations. Chris would try and, prompt me to say something. He'd be like, hey, what do you think of this? And I wouldn't respond. I'd give a really short one-word answer.
My first impression of him was that I wasn't sure if he wanted to be there, and I knew his friend Joy had invited him, but I was just surprised that he'd accepted the invitation and showed up on that first night.
They were friendly to me and they were welcoming me, and I just thought it was all garbage. I didn't believe it at all. When it stopped, I did, to my own surprise and my own disbelief, I felt disappointed.
When COVID hit and we went online with the Alpha, we had everyone's contact information, so it was easy for me to just, text everyone, follow up with everyone, and say to them, hey, we're gonna keep going, but on Zoom, online.
It's the fact that I didn't have to leave my house. I could be in my sacred space, in the comfort of my own bed. I felt myself really start to open up to the group and started to respond in the small group conversations and the messages. We got to the message about the Holy Spirit, and I just sat there sort of in silence, and I was kind of said something along the lines of Holy Spirit, are you there? And for the first time in 6 years, I felt sort of like a wind chill, like a random breeze in my room that just kind of makes the hairs on my arms and neck stand up a little bit. I felt that, and I broke down for what felt like hours, and I just apologized for running away.
After Alpha ended, I remember Nick came and we hung out on the porch, and I just remember thinking it's Nick. that's Nick, he's here, he's back.
What I was missing before is I wasn't finding the answer through people. I was now finding it through God. All this anger I felt really just start to disappear, to the point that when isolation and everything started to end and I started to go back to work, people started to comment and say, whoa, like, what happened to you? You just seem, somebody actually described it as you seem like you're surrounded by light, or you seem brighter. And I was like, wow, it was just so evident that Jesus was in me, and the Holy Spirit was fully moving me.